Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Goddess Honest Truth. I am Za, the Goddess, and we are here to talk about all things life, love, and bullshit. Today we have my cousin here. You know how black people are with our cousins, that aren't actually related, but my whole life we've been cousins. My whole life, that's my cousin. But she's actually also my PR agent, yes, so hit her up. I wanted to have her here because everybody got a story, right? And we need to figure out how we gonna go forward. How we gonna go forward in life, in love, and bullshit. Because the bullshit is always gonna be there. Life gonna be life.
Always.
And we need love.
Always.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, like she said, I am in public relations for the meantime. I'm a mom of 4 with some bonus kids in there. And, life has been rough. Now it's just navigating through all that and being positive in it and not just always dwelling on the negative and keeping moving forward and growing. So that's where I am in my journey, the growth part, which has been harder than I thought. Doing the work for real this time.
Right.
You go through therapy before and it's like, oh, I went to therapy. You think you're good until that trigger happens and everything resurfaces again. But now this is me at 48 needing to really do the work, and I'm putting in the work. So we're going to see how it comes out from there.
Yes. So tell me, how many children do you have?
I have 4 kids. My oldest is 30 and my youngest is 14. She just turned 14.
Period. Have you been married?
Never. I've never been married, but I've been engaged a few times, but never walked down that aisle. It just was never right. So I would say that's a good thing on my part. I was able to stop it before it got all the way and got worse. So, I'm a serial relationship person. So I'm always in a relationship, it seems like.
We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
So, tell me about your childhood. We all have this part in common, right?
Childhood was
your earliest memory.
My earliest memory is, well, you might make it work with the thing we was just talking about. Is me losing my mom at such a young age.
How old were you?
I was 8 or 9. One of those. People still don't know how old I really was. She died in 84, so do the math.
How'd she die?
She had, from what I understand, she had breast cancer first, and then it spread to her lungs. You would think that would really not make me want to smoke cigarettes, but I do. So that's my earliest memory. So my earliest memory is trauma happening. And then from there, my mom passed away. And like maybe a year or 2 later, my dad got remarried. I had a sister. I have a sister from that marriage. We're not as close as I would like us to be. I have an older brother from my mom and my dad who is my world. And he and I are not as close as I would like us to be. He lives in Atlanta. My sister lives in Ohio. And I live here. But I get my dad every day. Who has really become the foundation of everything I do. So, childhood, I bounced around. I lived in New York. Some bad things happened there. I came back here.
Who'd you live with in New York?
My aunt, one of my dad's sisters. And
as a result of your mom passing away? Or
I guess so. I mean, I really don't know why I was left to stay in New York, but I guess he felt that was best to have me raised by his sisters And if I had it my way, I would have stayed in New York because I hate living in California. I love living in New York until, you know, and then I got shit back here. So childhood, I just really felt like I was placed wherever it was convenient.
So, do you want to talk about what happened in New York?
Not really. Let's just say that it wasn't. I don't think the people are ready for that.
Yeah, they are.
Not the people in.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, just I don't know.
You know, I get it.
Yeah, it's a lot of elements to it. So there are kids involved that don't know, and
so there were misappropriations when you were underage.
Yeah, and I just really don't feel like that whole situation wasn't handled as it should be, and not realizing how badly that has affected my whole existence.
Definitely. And that's why I said it's important.
I always wonder who would I be if that didn't happen. I would have stayed in New York. I would be a real New Yorker, but would I have succumbed to the streets of New York, or because I really didn't I wasn't in the streets here. I partied a lot, but I wasn't in the streets. I didn't gang bang. I didn't do any of those things. I didn't sell drugs. I didn't prostitute. I didn't do all the things that have happened to me. Didn't shift me to that world like most people. Oh, I've been molested, I've been raped, and I'm a crackhead, and I started doing meth, to deal with my pain, or I drink. I don't even now. I used to drink only when I party, but when I drink, it's bad, and I turn violent, and I get all these memories, all these things start popping up when I drink, and if I'm in a bad situation, like a bad relationship, the end of the night, I'm usually ended up fighting with that person, and it's just not. It's just I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to be her, and I had to bury it. She's kind of buried.
Well, you thought you buried her.
Yeah,
right.
She popped up a few weeks ago.
So, how do you think that? Well, you said it, but how do you think that has affected your relationships going forward?
Oh man, it's been one bad relationship after another. But
was that the only time that any misappropriations happened?
No. I've had misappropriations a few times, and going through therapy, me being in situations and realizing that was another one, and then that was another one, and that was another one.
I can relate to that.
Feeling obligated to do certain things, knowing that that's not what I really wanted to do, but my subconscious saying, well, if you don't, this may happen if you don't. And so there's been a lot of those instances, and relationship wise, I just keep attracting people who seem to have other priorities, and I'm not the priority. And I'm just tired of not being a priority because I put a lot into my relationships. And if you got kids, they're my kids, and my family's gonna love them just like they were mine. But for some reason, there's a toxicity that's OCD. So there's a toxicity that's always there and within me, and I have a tendency to bring that out of people. And so when I know that that's not my intention, I'm really the white picket fence type of girl. I would live in the country. I would live
ideally,
and I would live on a farm with city isms in there. But I want a partner. Now, I won't even necessarily say a husband, but I want a life partner that is just all in. Like, we're building and growing together with our kids, with our businesses, and all those things. And I think because of all my trauma, it affects the way I work. It affects my hustle. It affects a procrastinator, and I'm just now realizing all those things. Like, really finding
This last
2 years. These last 2 years, I'm really coming into me and what it is I really want and who I am. So when people tell me, "Oh, I remember you used to do such and such," and I'm like, "Okay, but that's not who I am. That's not me." Well, yes, it is. Just because, no, and I really hate, like, I really want to punch you in your face when you keep trying to tell me who I am when I'm just figuring out who I am. Because you don't know me. None of y'all really know me.
So back to how that first one affected the next relationships. You were saying that you don't feel like you attracted people who were all in, basically.
No, they couldn't be, because either they were legally married but weren't physically in with them anymore. And that has happened like 3 times. Or they have baby mama issues and they're good men, and so they know that they have to take care of their kids, and in order to take care of their kids, they got to take care of their baby mama too. So how can you give me what I need, and how can you put into our household when you're taking care of a whole nother household? It's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. And that's where I'm at now.
Tell me a little bit about your first real relationship.
I guess that would be when I got pregnant. And, I was telling this story to one of my daughters the other day. I think it was autumn, maybe. We were driving and she asked me something. I don't remember the question. And I told her how I ended up deciding to keep my oldest daughter. And a lot of people don't know this, but before Whitney, I was pregnant 3 times before Whitney by her biological dad. And 2 times. And the 3rd time, he said, if you keep going through this procedure, meaning abortion, people don't come after us. He said, you won't be able to have kids. So in that sense, the doctor manipulated me in a sense to make me say, well, I need to keep this baby, because if I have another abortion, then I won't be able to have no kids.
And you were how old?
I was 16 at the time, and I knew that I always wanted to be a mom. Like, I picked my kids' names out when I was little. And I ended up keeping Whitney, and she was a twin.
What?
She was a twin, and I had a miscarriage, so I didn't know she was a twin.
Wow.
And it didn't show up on the sonogram or anything yet. So when I lost the baby, I thought, oh, well, God had a different plan. And that wasn't the case. They were like, when I went back, because I kept getting sick. So I went back and they did an ultrasound. They were like, oh, no, you're still pregnant. And I was like, wait, what? And it showed like I had 2 different sacs.
Whoa.
And
so wait, when you had the miscarriage, you didn't go to the doctor?
No.
Child, being a child.
Yeah. So, it was funny because my grandmother knew that I was pregnant before I knew. She was like, well, you come in from school and you just go to sleep and you sleep all day. And she was like, I was just waiting for you to say something. But yeah. So that's how Whitney got here. And I had no business being a mom. I had her after I turned 17, but I had no business being a mom. And I just
stayed in school.
I did, but I didn't like graduate with my class, but I did get my diploma later on. after that. I went to prom. I did all the normal teenage things. I went to parties. I went to pep rallies. I did all those things.
With your grandmother's support.
Well, yeah, but I was blessed to have a best friend. We're still friends to this day. They're my family who took me in, and they've been supporting me all my life. So I lived with them for a while. An incident happened there to where I had to move. Mm-hmm. I'd rather not.
Another one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't physical.
Before or
it was
after?
just more verbal.
Uh-huh. After the after Whitney?
No, before Whitney.
Okay.
It was actually before Whitney, and yeah, he actually, that guy, when I was pregnant, one of the times before Whitney, he kept asking me was something wrong with me, because when I was living there, I would come home and I would go to sleep. And I told him that I went to the doctor and they said I was pregnant. He was like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't want to keep it. So he helped me get the abortion. And in his mind, he felt, because he helped me, that I needed to help him. Mm-hmm. So he's a scumbag.
Definitely.
Mm.
You still see him?
No. He's nowhere around the family or nothing at all. Thank God. So it's just been one incident after another, and I've just been moving through life. I literally told my friend the other day, I'm not living. I'm doing things to survive. And I don't want to teach my two youngest girls that I want them to know love in the right way, in a positive way. And I don't want them to see like, well, this is what you have to do to survive. Mm-hmm. I really do think that's what a lot of my daughter saw. I know that's what Whitney saw. But I'm blessed for her to be in the relationship that she's in now, and the family that she's building. I'm very, very proud of her. She's
against all odds.
Yes, she turned out to be great.
Good.
And she's only getting better.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm proud of her for that.
So I'm trying to segue into how to talk about poly.
I knew that was going to come up.
I mean, we probably won't talk to another one, so we need to get that one.
So yes, a few years ago, I entered into a polyamorous relationship. It was my idea, with someone that meant a whole lot to me. And Robert was his name. And I use was because, one, we weren't together at the time, and two, he's no longer with us. But he and I had been knew each other since elementary school. And it was one of those things where, he wanted to date Shona. And, we finally got together, whatever. And he had 3 kids that came with him. And in that, I guess in his marriage, he did a lot of cheating on her. And what a lot of people don't know, me deciding to be poly was to have stability for his children. My kids, I know, are always going to be good. My village is awesome. And, but I knew that he had cheated in our relationship. And instead of me doing what I normally do, just bounce, I brought to him
open relationship,
to have an open relationship and what that meant. And he actually wasn't gun-ho at first, because his biggest fear, like most men, is like, well, I can do it, but you can't do it.
Right.
Well, what if you fall in love with somebody else? Or what if I fall in love with somebody else? And I told him just this. I said, then that was God's plan. Mm-hmm. And it didn't go as planned. I think my poly other and I were way closer than I expected us to be. And I really got fed up with a lot of the stuff that Robert was doing. And I just decided to leave me and Robert's relationship completely.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up just being solely with
the other guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then
And that went on for 6 years, and he was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was good till it wasn't good. But the bad thing about it is you realize that these men aren't really your friends. Like, for me, I had this whole stigma behind me all through high school. Like, I always had big boobs. You know, I was the most developed in my class, period. And, you know, I was the more mature one. So, you know, guys wanted to date me. They wanted to take me out, or it was all, you know, so many people have rumored that they've been with me.
Mm.
It's ridiculous. And it's kind of sad in a sense, too. So this one was another one, like, who kind of had a more of an infatuation with me. And I think once he finally got with me, you know, maybe he wasn't all peaches and cream like he was going to be. I'm not saying I'm all of that, but I know what I bring to the table, and I know that you're going to experience things with me that you won't with anybody else. And I don't mean sexually. I mean just life experience, going places, restaurants, outings, family, how I am with how we family, how we go on group outings, how my family, my extended family, how we are. And you know, sometimes it gets too much, and but
because we have to always keep in mind that those men have their own life and their own traumas and their own situations that they a lot of times don't deal with. So they bring their baggage, but it's like silent.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times it's not us. And we always want to make it like it's us, but it's not necessarily you. Sometimes you trigger their unhealed selves. And so they run or they act out.
Or they cheat and they lie.
Which is running and acting out.
Yeah.
So that part.
Yeah.
But we are conditioned to take on the blame as if it's something that we're not doing, or I'm not good enough, or whatever. And that's not the case. Almost never is that the case.
Yeah, I just wish more men will realize that they do have trauma, a lot of it. And most of their trauma is mommy issues. You know, you could think you're super close to your mom, but this last situation, that one was that those mommy issues are deep. And you know, I tell people all the time, like, I would do anything to have my mom here again. You know, like when I hear, oh, I'm not getting along with my mom, not so much with your situation. You know, and I get it. I get it, but if I had her here to argue with, I would be happy just for that.
But that right there, what you said, and this is what I've said before, that's why I keep trying with my mom, because I have all of these people in my lives who have lost their mother, and they don't have that opportunity to get that one last conversation or that whatever, you know. But it's only in my healing I have to realize that boundaries are important, and just because you're still here doesn't mean that I have to be the one to always stretch myself to make you comfortable when I'm totally uncomfortable every single time that I stretch myself. So
yeah, like I told my therapist the other day, like being a mom is literally the hardest job on the planet.
Oh my God, I just said that yesterday to my therapist.
And I told her I want to be closer with my kids, especially my daughters. My son is my son. I only have one boy, one biological boy, and 3 daughters. And my son is literally me and his father.
Same thing with me.
Combined. I'm proud of where he is in his life and where he's going. But my daughters are like the ones who I worry about the most. And even with Whitney getting older, now that she's giving me grandchildren, I really wish for us to have a different relationship.
Closer.
Mm-hmm. And I try, but it just seems like they keep pushing me. They keep pushing me, and I make it's not a joke to me because when I say it, I mean it. But they always like, well, why do you say that? Stop saying that. I'm like, I've never met kids who look for reasons to not like their mom. Like
I know that. I know that all too well.
And I feel like every little thing that I do, like now I question everything that I do. Don't date too fast. Don't bring this person around your kids too soon. Like my kids aren't little; they're grown, and they will fight you. And I'm just saying, especially that 14-year-old, she's bigger than me, and she's strong. She's so much like me. It scares me because she's very nurturing. She's very giving. Autumn's personality is really like, fuck you. Like, I'm gonna keep it pushing. But that's also a good and a bad thing because she knows how to like brush people off. But I know inside that it's a different feeling.
She probably wants to pull people in.
Yeah. But that little one, she wants to feed the kitties.
So let me ask you this. What do you think in these different stages of your parenting or your mothering happen to affect each child's personality? Not the part that's just innate, that's them. Like,
I think
definitely their attitude towards you.
I know where it shifted for Joseph and Whitney because Autumn and Journey were so little. When I got with Robert, I didn't take into consideration how that would affect my kids. Me bringing in him and then taking on the responsibility of his children. And his youngest was only 3 months at the time. So it was like I had a 10-month-old and a 3-month-old. And I just mommied, because I felt that's what they needed. And I ended up loving them like they are mine. But not really factoring in what it was doing to my own kids. And it was so unfair to them. It was so unfair, and I feel bad to this day.
Have you had that conversation with them?
No, they don't really want to talk about stuff.
She's gonna come talk to y'all about it.
They don't really want to talk to me about it.
Joe don't have to say anything back.
Joe does little things like, Mom. He'll go, Mom. When people ask you how many kids do you have, how many kids do you say? And I say 4. I have 4 kids. When he goes, oh, okay. So I know what that means. Yeah. Like, you still claiming all these kids. Like, even though him and my bonus son, RJ, are very close still. RJ lives in a whole nother state now. And baby Joe, because I had 2 Josephs at the time, he's still, him and Journey are very close. And I still love him to death. Mm-hmm. And he always will know that.
You're his support system too.
Yeah, so I just, I let them deal with them as they do, and I deal with the kids the way I do. Mm-hmm. But I just don't ever want my kids to think that they weren't my priority because everything I do to this day is for them. I could have left and been selfish and went out on tours and, just left my kids with everybody. And, I do regret, like, I made the decision I wanted to move to Atlanta. And when I moved, my dad and my aunt were like, leave your kids here till you get settled. So instead of that being said to my kids, I had cousins who were telling my daughter that I moved for a man. Mm. And she held her animosity towards me to this day. She still says that, yes. And I'm like, that's not the case. Mm-hmm. The man who I supposedly left them for, she's very close to him to this day. Mm-hmm. So you can ask him, like, what was the situation? That's not why I moved. I really moved to get the hell out of LA. Mm-hmm. And that situation didn't work out as planned for me down there. Not with him, just for me, period. Just going and staying focused and getting settled and finding my own place. It just didn't happen that way, and I ended up back here with 2 more babies. And it's just not a happy place for me. So many things have happened to me here that I just like. And I always say I will move back to New York, but that was the stint of, that's the foundation of where I lost my mom here first, and then the next big thing that happened to me was there. So living there for me is not an option either. Yeah, you don't know that's not an option either, and I just don't know where I would be. I don't know where I want to go. I just know that it's not here.
Well, maybe it's just time for you to just continue on the healing journey, and then everything will just fall into place. So, what is one thing that you would tell your younger self?
Ooh, I tell her stuff all the time. One of the things is I tell her that she is stronger than she believes she is, and that she will get all the things that she desires in life. She just has to be patient. And that's what I've been working on, is my patience.
Patience is a problem?
Well, I mean, I'm an Aries, so I want things when I want them.
Yeah, I have 2 of those.
And I have been definitely been doing good with my patience and my faith. I'm building my faith and getting closer to God and believing, that, because I look back and I go, every time I think I'm going to sink and drown, I don't. So, like, what I'm going through right now, I'm just like, I know I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
In the end, I know I'm going to be okay.
So I think I've mentioned this on each and every podcast so far, is having true fucking faith.
Yeah.
That is the hardest thing ever.
That's
the biggest feat ever in life. Is to have true, unwavering faith that everything that you love is coming to love you back.
Yeah.
But because in the interim, because we're all frazzled and moving around and trying to have our hand in everything and controlling everything, that sometimes is pushing all of those things away.
Yeah. It is, I mean, I struggled with faith for years, since I was little, I think, because, as a little girl, you go, why would God take my mom from me? I was a little girl. I needed and I realized I need her more now than I did when I was younger. And I'm blessed to have the Thethys that I have. Mainly one in particular.
What's your background? We didn't talk about that.
Puerto Rican and black. Taino and black.
Period. Yeah.
But yeah. So my dad is Puerto Rican and my mom is from California, and so she's been the mother figure for me. She's been the grandma, the abuelita for my kids, and she's just awesome. She called and gave me a good prayer last night, and I'm just very grateful.
That's the beautiful part too. With all of my trauma, I always remember, or not even remember, but stay mindful of those angels that God has placed so intricately along the way.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because my best friend, I don't know if she knows this, but in elementary school, she really wasn't one of my favorite people. And I remember I was sitting at the school bus stop on Park Glen in Angeles Vista in Windsor Hills. My brother was supposed to pick me up from the school bus, and he forgot me. So Keith comes skateboarding by, and he was like, "Why are you still sitting here? Like, we got off the bus a long time ago." And I'm like, "My brother forgot me," and we didn't have cell phones back then,
Mm-hmm.
so he was like, "Well, you want to go to my sugar meat's house?" That was his grandmother.
Oh, sugar meat.
Sugar meat, sweetest
Sugar
lady.
meat.
Yeah, sweetest lady ever.
Sound country.
No.
Sugar meat.
She was just little bitty, tiny little. She was just the sweetest lady. To call your brother, and I was like, yeah. And Kelly was at the house, and so I called my brother. And he said he was going to come get me. And she asked me, she was like, "Well, what are you doing next weekend? You want to come spend the night at my house?" And we've been inseparable since.
But why you didn't like her?
Oh, I don't know. Just
But you guys were kids.
Yeah. I mean, and every day I always imagine, like, what if my brother didn't leave me on that bus stop and Keith didn't come by?
Yeah, that part, we would never know.
All of them.
It was all supposed to happen that way.
Her mom, her family, her brothers, they're all my family, and I'm very grateful for them. So
I was always very close to all of my friends' families. Like that, I got my family from my friends' families. Like I was a part of everything. Those grandmothers would hug me and kiss me and, feed me and tell me how great I was, and I needed all of that. I needed that. And very early I knew, like, this is how it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I was very angry that was not my life at home.
Yeah, I think the closeness that she has a twin brother. That's Keith, the skateboarder. And then she has an older brother. And I think the closeness that they have, I always wanted that with my brother and my sister. No. Well, it's just me and my brother from my dad and mom. And then my dad has another daughter from my stepmom. I know she hates when I call her my stepmom, but she is my stepmom. She's the only stepmom I've had. And it's funny because she and I have gotten closer as I've gotten older
recently.
And so that's crazy, but I'm grateful for it also.
She's been a good role model.
My stepmom, I mean, I commend her on her going through her struggle and coming out of it and where she is in her life and being stable for her and her son. My sister's older. She's married now. She has a son. And, we all go through things. And I just pray for that whole situation as well. So, yeah. I've had some great female role models in my life. Like, I tell my daughters, all the women in my circle are ambitious. They are driven. They are fighters. They are strong. And they are hustlers in a good way.
So that
they have
great role. Where you got that from?
Yeah, I'm talking about even like my friends. Well, I really don't have no friends anymore, but I'm okay with that too.
But the resiliency, you can see the connection.
Yeah. So they have
the things that stand out about them are things that you can see within yourself.
So they have great role models of what not being lazy as a woman is supposed to look like. And I feel like I've fallen into a laziness for me. I look at other publicists that started around the same time as me 20 years ago, and they're doing, for face, they're doing well. But, PR is a struggle. I mean, being your own boss is a struggle anyway. People always say, I don't want to work a 9 to 5, but yet there's a stability in that 9 to 5. And you're not worrying about, well, where's the next check going to come from? Or where's the next client going to come from? You know that there's a stability. So I am transitioning. I will do PR for people that I love and that I know value my time and my skill set.
Is that your passion?
No.
What's your passion?
My passion is actually producing concerts.
Okay, so how are we going to get you there?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on it. I got to get right up here too.
That's what I was saying about the healing. The healing and everything else falls into place after that. But a lot of times we push that, keep pushing that, pushing it down.
Yeah.
Or, that's not a big deal. And that's the whole deal.
Right. That is my love. Like, I used to sing. I don't sing anymore. So being on stage in some capacity, and then I did a show, maybe like 15 years ago now, maybe 20 years ago now, and in the Valley. It was called Rhythm Nights, where I had a live band and local artists would perform with the live band. And then I got shot.
I forgot about that one, cousin. Let's talk about that time when you got shot.
Oh, I was bartending.
Where were you bartending at?
At Jerry's Flying Fox. And some knucklehead, older dude, gangbanging, was trying to flirt a little too hard. And I ignored it, and it escalated outside. At the time, I was with Autumn's dad. He was actually the cook there. Some words were exchanged. Trying to make the story short, some words were exchanged, and they ended up fighting. And when he went to swing to hit Cliff, I thought he was going to hit me, so I hit him and I broke his nose. So that made him really mad, and he told his flunky to go and get his gun out the car, and the flunky went and got it. And one thing led to another. He cocked the gun, he pointed it at me and said, "That bitch broke my nose." And I was like, I got kids at home. Like, you gonna shoot me over some dumb shit? And Cliff tackled him, and when he tackled him, he hit Cliff in the head with the gun, and the gun went off. And
so it wasn't intentional at that point in time.
So when it grazed Cliff's head and Cliff fell into me, so the bullet was still like traveling on his head, and when he fell into me, it entered my boobs and it made my cleavage ugly. So so yeah, I've been shot before, and it burns and it hurts. At work, at that
part. So do you think that has anything to do with
how that caused a lot of depression in me, because my shows, Rhythm Nights, was just starting to pick up. Like, we were right across the street from Universal Studios, so I had a lot of the actors. They would leave from shooting to come over there for drinks and just listen to the music, and I really think I would be further along with concert production if that didn't happen to me.
So we're going to get her back to doing that. By the grace of God.
Yeah. It's coming. I know it is. I know. I keep getting put in situations that I have. My fantasy concert consists of 3 people. I'm not going to say who it is. And they're not famous to the world, but they're famous to me and my family. To put these 3 people in a concert together. And I think it'll be great.
Venue.
Yeah. Venue, like where I want to go? I don't know. I want a speakeasy. I want to own my own speakeasy.
I always say I want, because I'm in love with live music. Like, it makes me so high. So that's why I love when I'm in production and I'm doing whatever. And I was like, oh, you wasn't no water. But just seeing that whole thing and just being in the room of that. So I always say, like, after the show, I'm like, if you guys ever need a space to come and just do jam sessions, my living room is available.
And
like,
it really is great in here.
I promise. Anybody who just needs a space, you don't have to pay me. I will make you charcuterie boards. I will make you cocktails. Just come jam out right here, because that will make me so happy.
Yeah, it is. I find little speakeasies around the city and tend to go to them. I took you to one.
Yeah,
it was kind of slow that night. But that's what I want. That's the dream.
Well, that's
and I want my own
super
attainable. And I want my own rum line.
Okay.
I have the name. I've actually done the logo and the labeling for it already. But it's pretty pricey. Even white labeling it is pretty pricey.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody got some tips, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best route to do that?
For sure.
And but that's it. Those are my two main goals that I want in life.
Very easily attainable. It's just, yes, do this work and everything is gonna pan out.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone else, whatever age, but mainly young, because I think that's where it all starts. What would you tell somebody else who may have experienced similar things?
Talk. Let it out. Get it out. Express it even when you think they don't want to hear it. And what I have found that is that we, being abused, tend to care about how this is going to affect everybody else. When it's killing you, it's draining you, it's affecting your friendships, it's affecting your relationships with everything you do. Everything you do. And the decisions you make are all stemmed from somewhere, for any reason from that. But you got to let them know. You got to let people know. And I'm still struggling with that. Just having these conversations with the people I need to have them with.
Your voice matters.
Mm-hmm.
It matters, and not just for you. A lot of times I've learned, especially after writing my book and all of that, is that you are not alone in the bullshit.
Yeah.
And your story and your bravery or whatever to speak it out can affect other people and help them to tell their story.
Yeah.
And that's what we all need to be able to do, is to speak our truth. And that's where the healing is. And then that's when you are able to live the life that you're supposed to be living.
Because with that, you don't know that your story may trigger them saying, oh, this happened to me. Mm-hmm. And I never told anybody in my family.
It's happened so many times to me.
And it's so crazy.
75-year-old woman, 80, maybe 80. She sat right here in this corner. I was doing hair and we were all talking, and my business have always been an open forum for free conversation, and I'm very nonchalant about, my story. I just talk, but when I came around the corner and I looked over here, my oldest client was sitting in the corner just weeping, and I just came and I hugged her, and she was like, it happened to me and I never told anybody. So if you just think about that, like, what life could she have lived if she would have told her story when it happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my biggest fear. Like, and I told my therapist this too. Like, my 16-year-old, this is her last year of high school, and before I wanted her to go and live that college, I lived vicariously through them. Like, my biggest regret is not going to an HBCU like I wanted to, and so I wanted her to go experience that. If she wanted to pledge. And I'm a Lifetime movie watcher. And
Lifetime. And Hallmark.
All these stories about your kids going to school, and then you talk to them every day, and then all of a sudden they disappear, and then she's found in the woods somewhere. Terrifies me. And I was like, I'm sorry that my fears I'm projecting onto them, because they have to live their life.
Yep.
And but now she don't want to go away to school.
Well,
she wants to go to school, but she wants to stay here.
So do you think you telling her that made a difference?
No. Okay, she don't give a shit.
Okay. That's the
she's just like, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go. But I want them to experience life, but I have to get past my fears. Like, my trauma has been so bad that it has instilled anxiety in me to where I can't even drive on the freeway anymore.
You put yourself in a bubble. You built a shell.
Yeah, so even if you drive, because she drives like a bat out of hell, and like, it makes me nervous with, like, certain people that know how bad my anxiety is. When they get on the freeway, they're like, Shona, don't look. And I'm like, I can still feel how fast the car is going. And it's not that I feel like you're gonna kill us. I feel like somebody else is, like, not knowing that you're about to zoom up behind them or swoop behind them. But I am appreciative and thankful for the people who do get it and take their time and slow down, or we'll just drive the street all the way there.
See, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that my driving was affecting you like that. I had no idea.
It's not that bad. I mean,
most people say I'm a great driver.
I didn't say you were a bad driver. I said you just drive like a bat out of hell. Like Kelly,
I get where I'm going. I gotta get there, and I don't like to be around other cars, so I might speed around, maneuver.
And she's like this big, you guys. So she's this tiny little thing driving off super fast.
No, you should have seen me back in the day when I used to drive the G wagon. I call it the G wagon. My brother, when my car broke down, my brother gave me his Brougham.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm this little bitty girl in this big old long white Brougham, and I'm like hop out with the booty shorts and stuff with the heels on, and I pull up, and all the people, sorry y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So all the people,
Mm-hmm.
So all the people sitting outside would be like, I can't believe it was her just pulling all over, and I would, and I. So yeah, I love driving. That's my happy place too.
Not for me. I want a driver. That's on the list
funny.
too.
That's funny. All right, well, she's gonna be back. We're gonna be talking some more. So, once again, thank you for joining us on another episode of The Goddess Honest Truth. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want to find me, you want to talk to me, you want to come on, hit her up. The link is in the bio. Peace, love, and light.